China, first of all, has a state-controlled approach to technology. So not only is the Made in China 2025 ambition intended to ensure that Beijing and the CCP basically have and control the commanding heights of the 21st century economy based on those leading-edge technologies, but they're also using state-owned enterprises or co-opting even their so-called private sector for the state. And that's the concern about Huawei. Huawei is private, but it unfortunately, under Chinese law, can be co-opted to essentially assist the Ministry of State Security, the intelligence apparatus of the Chinese. And if you're talking about national security, as you are in the so-called Five Eyes English-speaking countries of the world, where they've forged decades of deep intelligence cooperation since the early Cold War years, it's a great concern. You cannot allow security to be left to chance. That's why the intelligence communities have been arguing for preventing the purchase of infrastructure that's built by Huawei and built by Chinese-owned companies, not because those Chinese companies are doing something illicit now, but that it will open up the door for compromising your core national security communications, and that's the real challenge here. So everybody, including the United States, wants trade with China. Clearly, the UK wants trade with China. And now the question becomes, how do you best protect your national security and yet not jeopardize the trade you want? And the cutoff line here has been on something like 5G communications, because it is 1,000 times faster in terms of connectivity than the current 4G sort of communications. It's very important for the national security not to be thrown to the Chinese state. So that's the concern. Every country has to make a separate choice, and private sectors operations make separate choices. But I think from core national security perspective, you have to be able to draw the line around the communications that you need to rely on in an emergency, in a crisis, in contingencies that you cannot even foresee right now. And that's why this is an issue that China may not like it. Huawei certainly doesn't like it. But 5G is just the start. I mean, you get into quantum communications, which will be the next wave. Quantum communications will make 5G look slow. So this competition is not going to stop. And when it comes to cutting-edge technology, there's no doubt that this is now part of a major concern about future national security, especially given China's desire to go its own way.